The last TKO on Nate's record was Gray Maynard in 2013. The last submission on his record was Conor McGregor in 2016. His last win was against Anthony Pettis in 2019. July of 2020 is when Chimaev made his UFC debut, and within 10 days he fought twice, and he added 2 big wins to his record and immediately got the whole MMA world going, hang on a minute, this guy needs a title shot. Like, we all kind of felt that watching those performances. And of course, they're not, he wasn't fighting world beaters at the time, but as he's progressed through, I mean, what he did to the Leech was, I'd just never seen anybody do that to him before. He made him look like a big child, and he manhandled him. Of course, the Gilbert Burns fight was a bit of an insight into maybe what Diaz can do to get himself into this. And this is where the championship rounds will come into play. Because for me, it's all about Diaz dragging this out into the later rounds. I kind of felt like he understood that against Leon. I felt like he learned that lesson against Masvidal, because within the first minute of Masvidal, he was clinched and he was starting to get elbowed. And once he gets cut, then that sand is trickling away and he's running out of time, because the doctor at any point can step in, and then there's nothing clear cut. Not really the right term to use. There's nothing clear cut about that decision. It's all based on what that doctor's opinion of that cut is and whether Diaz should be able to continue or not. Now, of course, in the Masvidal fight, he wasn't able to continue, and had he not got cut in the first minute, he might have been able to extend that fight a bit longer, and he was starting to tag Masvidal a little bit in that third round. This is the thing, is if his skin can hold together long enough, he can keep himself in the fight for long enough to find the bottom of Chimaev's gas tank. And that's kind of what we're all waiting on. Chimaev won 2 fights back-to-back in July. August he was out, back in September of July of 2020, up at middleweight. In 17 seconds, he'd knocked out Gerald Meerschaert. I don't think that Diaz would have a problem outboxing Meerschaert, but I don't think he'd be able to knock him out in the first round, let alone the first minute. Chimaev has that power in his right hand to catch Diaz and put him out with one shot. I truly believe that. And I don't think that most people would agree with me because, well, Diaz has never been put out on his back. He doesn't need to. He needs to put him down and then elbow him. He needs to put him down and cut him. There are lots of different ways for Chimaev to win this one. A lot of them is about Diaz's skin holding together, and I'm going to keep coming back to that point. After winning the fight in August against Pettis, he went on to fight the BMF belt, and that was still before Chimaev made his debut. Then he was out for a good while, and this is when Chimaev had started his UFC career. He beat Meerschaert, he got COVID in December of 2020, and then announced he was retiring in March of 2021. Just after this was when Diaz had his last fight against Edwards. The consistent thing about Diaz's last 2 fights is that he got cut pretty badly in both of them. Now, in the Masvidal fight, that was an old cut, which opened up in 2008 against Kurt Pellegrino, and a new cut under his cheek here. Against Leon, he was cut here in the 3rd round and here. So, fresh scar tissue from his last 2 fights. Again, the closer he gets to Chimaev, the sooner, the more likely he's going to be of getting cut, and then that 25 minutes is not guaranteed anymore. If you look at the first opening minute against Masvidal, he closed distance quickly and they were clinched. If you look at it against Leon, he kind of played and he was like posturing. He was doing some very Nick Diaz things. He was like basically showboating and messing with him, but at the same time killing time. Like burning out some time on that clock at the same time as they're standing there, ready to fight Nate Diaz. Nate Diaz is cruising and coasting, and he's like, okay, let me just burn a minute here, and then I'll walk him down and slap him with it, then I'll walk away, and I'll point at him. He plays these games very well, and I think he's going to be doing a lot of that against Chimaev in the first round if Chimaev gives him the space. Most likely Chimaev's going to come out the gate like he did against John Phillips. He's going to close him down. He's going to try and hit him hard, and I think he's going to try and wrestle him because I think he wants to prove that he can take Nate down and shut him down. And if he does that, that's all risks off the table for Chimaev, because if he can control Nate in the ground, that's the way that Nate's going to win this fight.